Harry's wife. I'm tired of them. Sentiments undoubtedly shared by many millions of people who are sick and tired of hearing about the Sussexes, but because of her need to assert control through the PR puff pieces, and for every single thing that she does to be heralded as if it's a major achievement and a pioneering action on her behalf, we unfortunately have to suffer their repeated presence. As I've explained in a video back in, I think it was November, what would it take to make her go away? It would essentially be a wholesale media blackout. However, the problem that arises with that is that people still want to watch the car crash. They want to watch the train wreck. The majority of people that have an interest in them aren't interested because they like them. They're interested in wanting to see the whole shit show come crashing down. And the writers and the broadcasters and the advertisers all know this. It still shows with regard to my own videos. I will provide a video which gives people life-saving information, and it will invariably be outgunned by a video about Harry's wife, because more people are interested in hearing about her and me talking about her narcissism and the latest reprehensible behaviours of hers and taking the Michael out of her than actually learning about information that could potentially save their lives or their livelihood or those of people that they love. Tells you much that's wrong with the world, I suppose. Nevertheless, there is a huge amount of fatigue in relation to the Sussexes. And we now turn to an opinion piece by Ahmed Touaj, who writes for Al Jazeera. And the headline is, "I'm tired of Harry and Harry's wife. The media should be too." They want to earn millions from the very media they've attacked, while news that matters gets ignored in the process. It would appear that Ahmed picks up on the twin difficulties with the gruesome twosome, namely their hypocrisy, whereby they complain about the media but then utilise it in order to get what they want. And also, the fact is that so much news may well be missed as a consequence of coverage of these idiots. I've noted, for instance, in the Times and the Telegraph, two newspapers that you know I habitually read and take material from, that in the comments section there are those that decry the repeated coverage that is afforded to the Sussexes, and that they would rather them talk about real news. Let's find out what Ahmed Touaj has to tell us. "Pretty much everything I know about Prince Harry and Harry's wife, I've been forced to absorb against my will. For the last few months, even years now, the lives of the couple have been splattered across front-page articles and mainstream news. While Harry's wife has had a career as an actress in the United States, Harry's biggest and frankly only claim to fame is a family association he gained through birth. Amidst a growing cost of living crisis, colossal global inflation rates, and a terrifying climate catastrophe, news that matters should not be hijacked by meaningless tabloid gossip. Whether it was the bit about how Harry lost his virginity between a shack to a woman that treated him like a stallion, or his mushroom trip at Courtney Cox's home, I've involuntarily learned particulars about the life of this 30-year-old prince from the House of Windsor. There has been no way to avoid it. Be it on news websites, on Instagram or Twitter feeds, on Netflix or Spotify top 10 lists, and now even on the shelves of bookstores, my usual safe haven, there has been no escape from Harry, Harry's wife, and other British royals or ex-royals. The recent release of Harry's memoir Spare has led to even more frenzied news coverage of the family's dirty laundry than usual. December brought a 6-part Netflix documentary series and a string of media appearances, and of course no one has forgotten the viral Oprah Winfrey interview in 2021. But here's the irony. Harry has repeatedly attacked the media, blaming them for the death of his mother, Princess Diana, Princess of Wales, as well as his wife's miscarriage, among other things, for a couple that has taken almost every opportunity to complain about how damaging intrusive journalism has been. Harry and Harry's wife seem oddly willing to lay bare every detailed minutiae of their lives in exchange for millions of dollars. And for some reason, we are now expected to care. Well, that, Ahmed, is the way of the narcissist, whereby she believes everything associated with her is hugely important and that she's popular, that so many people love and adore her. And she believes that everything associated with her life is something that ought to be publicised, that ought to be broadcast, and that she should be paid for it, because that is a residual benefit. Harry's latest claim, the article continues while promoting his book, is that his elder brother William, the first in line to the British throne, physically assaulted him. Instead of relaying that to the police at the time, Harry opted to save the detail for a memoir sold at an official retail price of £28 per copy. I guess he needed to balance what scandalous topics made it to the Netflix documentary for which he and Harry's wife were reportedly paid $100 million, what makes it to a Spotify podcast series apparently worth $18 million, and what made it to the book. How else would he get people to pay for all of them? Now, with the book, podcast and documentary series out, we're left wondering what the couple has saved to cash in on a cinematic dramatisation of their lives which, according to Peter Morgan, showrunner of the Netflix show The Crown, is too fresh to write yet. I've previously written about how irrelevant the royal family is, as well as the corruption fueling their power. I would have been the first in line to buy Harry's spare if he had confronted his grandmother, the late Queen Elizabeth II, on his family's legacy of colonialism, global imperialism and oppression, and had written about that in the book. But to force-feed information like how Harry's son Archie was not offered taxpayer-funded protection by the royal family is ludicrous and fails to garner my sympathy. Meanwhile, Harry has detailed how his approach to much of the world is in keeping with his family's history. Instead of trying to create a pity story for the profoundly wealthy couple now living in California, the media should be highlighting how Harry, in his book, described almost with pride that he killed 25 people in Afghanistan during his stint there with the military. Harry has confessed to thinking of those he shot from his attack helicopter as chess pieces to be removed from the board. That isn't a surprise. After all, in 2013 he said playing PlayStation and Xbox made him a better military pilot. Dehumanising the lives of Afghans and others in the global south, of course, comes naturally to the British elite. Dead Afghans are merely a statistic to them. Harry's ancestors had led repeated invasions into Afghanistan since 1838, killing an untold number of Afghans. Just as I'm not interested in the daily lives of Harry and Harry's wife, I have no fascination with the British monarchy in general. Is the royal family corrupt? Yes. Is this new information? No. The media should stop focusing on Harry and Harry's wife's antics and keep it in the celebrity gossip columns where they belong. There are far more pertinent things we should worry about. The royal family and its members are only relevant if we continue to make them relevant. Well, a measured, albeit scathing view from Ahmed Touaj about both Harry's wife, Harry, and the royal family. But you can understand here, and it's interesting to have an opinion from a different news publication that shows that even somebody who is not white is sick of them also. Will Harry's wife allege that Ahmed Touaj is racist for saying that he's sick and tired of hearing about them and that the news about them is keeping out proper news? It only remains to be seen. Naturally, of course, were she to read this, she would be dismissive because her narcissism will cause her to do so. She would not see the logic of what he has put forward with regard to their overexposure. Her narcissism will not allow it. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.